So we are still here with our '03 Honda Pilot. We just put a lower control arm on the driver's side and an inner tie rod on the passenger side. So now we are hooked up to our alignment machine, and we're going to go ahead and roll comp it and see what it looks like. For anyone who does alignments, I was always instructed to be pushing on the tire, never on the body. When you push on the body, you are putting downward force on it. Thus, you are affecting the position of the camber, possibly even toe from the back here. So you want to have a true compensation, pushing on the tire, and we'll get scotch there. Scotch is in place, still in neutral. So we're going to pop up there, put it in park, install our brake pedal kit depressor, and go ahead and measure caster. So here we are in a Honda Pilot 03 4x4. So I did do a compensation on it the second time, because I don't know if anyone else out there doing alignments has this issue with a hunting machine, but every now and then it just feels like I have to do a second compensation. Otherwise camber will be all the way to one side or the other, but generally on that second one it'll be truly where it is. I've even put bolt kits in there, and it'll be pulling down the road because I put a bolt kit in there thinking, oh, it needs to be brought up here and down here or whatnot, or vice versa. And then it'll be pulling because it was actually correct when I first got it on here. So I don't know if y'all have a problem with that. Leave a comment. Let me know how you fix it or how you deal with it, or we can just vent together. I don't know. But as I was saying before, when I put the inner tie rod on here, always get in alignment, because 95% of the time, even if you count the threads, count how many turns you did, whatever is separating the inner and outer tie rod, it's always going to be about a ½ degree off. Now this steering wheel was straight when I brought it in here. It's not now. We put a tie rod and a control arm on there, so that's the only thing that's changed since then. So let's get some tools and do us some alignment. Now for the rear camber though, there is not going to be an adjustment back there from factory, because Honda, if I click right, yep, wants you to buy this $100 part right here, or right here, one of those. So it's about 100, 150, so in that ballpark range, to adjust the camber on there. So there is no camber adjustment on here. What we do have is toe adjustment, which we can adjust over here, just because the way this tire is sitting right now, with it leaning in on your camber, and it's going to be leaning out on your toe, it's going to be feathering on that inside edge real bad. So what I'm going to do is, with the since I can't do anything about the camber, which is leaning in like that, I'm just going to bring it in just a little bit to help with that wear factor. So I always secretly hope I'm wrong, for customer's sake, because up here, this upper control arm is where that adjustable control arm would be replaced. Now this one does not have them already replaced in there, so unfortunately for the customer, they are going to have to do a HVAC tire work, a camber factor on it, and if they want to have it fixed, they have to bring it back for another arm another day. That's where it would go if it was there. But what we do have is this eccentric right here on the lower control arm, which adjusts our toe. So we're going to loosen it up there, turn the bolt on the back side here, and it will turn in toe in or out for us. So we got our toe adjusted back there. Went ahead and did both sides. You don't want to have it a whole lot over here into the red. This is such a small window, that's why it looks bad. It's supposed to be right on that black line there, so it is close, but it's a very small tolerance window. So same thing over here. You don't want it too far, otherwise you will have safety issues. You'll have poorly worn tires and whatnot. But it's a little bit positive just to help with that negative camber factor, because of the way the tire's wearing now. So let's go ahead and adjust the front toe as well. Alright, so we're getting there. Got toe adjusted just a little bit. I'm gonna probably hop up there half a dozen times to re-straighten the steering wheel and make sure toes and where it should be, and make sure the steering wheel's straight, because it's easier to do it now versus think you got straight, go down the road and your steering wheel's cocked, 45 degrees to the left or right. So, but something else I'm gonna do real quick, just a little quick trick. These on the front camber on these, if you go to Come Down Tools and Kits here, it's gonna show us that it wants you to put in this bolt kit here. Sometimes you don't have to. Most of the time you do. I do recommend them. They work great. I'll show you where they go in here. So you would actually remove the upper strut bolt there and replace it with that Camber bolt kit. Loosen that one, turn it to spec, turn the kit to spec, tighten them back down. So, but because it's actually just a little bit positive, sometimes I've had luck just loosening both up and let it fall into place just a little bit. Can't recommend doing this if it's any more than just like 0.1, 0.2 degrees out. And then vice versa, you can sometimes lift, jack it a little bit and let it fall into a more positive position. But make sure you tighten them up. Make sure that everything is spec'd, torqued, because of course the last thing you want to do is go down the road and not only your steering wheel might be off, but your strut fall apart or something to that extent. So I'm gonna loosen those up just some fuzz, and we'll see what happens. So it did work a little bit. It was up here at about 0.3 or so, too positive. So like I said, all we did was loosen those bolts up, or the lower strut nuts, just enough to let it kind of fall into place a little bit, and it did work. So let's go ahead and get the steering wheel straight, adjust toe back up, probably go to the back and readjust that toe. And something happened to the camber over there, so we're probably just going to recomp it, because like I said, it's easier to do it now while it's on the rack. Recomp it 2, 3, 4 times if you need to. It's easier to do now versus get on the road and find out it was wrong the whole time. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you watching. How to do 03 Honda Pilot, lower control arm, inner tie rod, and alignment. I appreciate it.